Hey everybody, thanks for checking out today's video on the top 3 things you should be doing as part of your post-workout or post-training protocol. We're going to go through 3 things that we find are in the best order to really get the most out of the performance of your workout as well as the best in terms of injury prevention. So let's go over this. Number 1 is going to be the ability to assess. We want to assess, we don't want to guess what you just worked out or what might be tight or what is going on. So we want to make sure that we're assessing. There's 2 tests that we go over for assessment. One is this overhead wall test. In this test, we're looking at making sure we see specifically what's happening at the shoulders in terms of mobility and strength after your workout. The other test we do is a hip rotation test. We look at, with you laying on your back, we're looking at hip rotation, which gives us more information as to what's happening with the quads, with the low back, with your hips, and where you might be creating tightness or potentially injuries down the road. That's going to be step 1, is that assessment. Step 2 is going to be relax. So from that assessment, we then want to find what tissue, or we want to target what tissue we just discovered is more tight or is more overactive. So in relaxed state, this is where we get into the foam rolling. This is where we get into the stretching. So from an upper body standpoint, we really like to go over that foam rolling for your lats instead of more of the pecs, which we show in this video. Another one is an overhead wall test that we also like to follow up from foam rolling. For the lower extremity, for your hips, we want to get into more of those quads. First, from a foam rolling standpoint, really relax that tissue. That pressure really helps to turn those muscles off. And then after that, we can get into some type of hip flexor stretch. Typically, like a lunging stretch is one that we like to prescribe for a lot of our clients and athletes. After we're done relaxing, step 3 is going to be reactivation, or rebalance is also what we like to call it. Because we're getting to some muscle imbalances, because you are compensating, you're pushing the workout, you're getting to those thresholds where you start fatiguing or you start going to a point where things start getting heavy. We want you to be able to get to that threshold, but we also need to make sure fundamentally we're getting away from what you may have overacted. That's why after we've turned everything off or relaxed it, we have to reactivate and rebalance. That's where we really like, from a shoulder standpoint, getting back to more of our scapular stabilization activation. So in this example, we really like using our wall slide with liftoff drill, very simple drill that can be applied and done anywhere. And then for lower extremity, we really like this marching bridge. It can be sometimes a little bit too much for people that are not used to getting activation of their posterior chain, but with time, you really can get more input or output out of it, and you get those effects of really engaging the backside of the hamstrings, the glutes, that low back, all those muscles in sync that we're looking for to make sure you get out of this potentially injury position. So those are going to be our 3 steps. So we have assess, we have step 2, which is relax, and then we have reactivate or rebalance. That's the 3, and these 3 things should not take more than 6 to 7 minutes if you're doing them correctly. The assessment should take less than a minute for both, and then for the relaxation, it should only take up to 4 or 5 minutes if you're really taking your time. And then for reactivation, both of those drills you're only doing for 60 seconds, so those should only take about 2–2.5 minutes at max. So really only looking at about 6–7 minutes of your time when you go through this protocol, so it's something very easily done at the end of your workout before you leave the gym, or if you're done hitting the trails, or if you're done hitting the road if you're going for a run, or for any type of training as well. The other great time to do this is at night. Within that 30 minutes before bed, we also want to go through this protocol because we really want to make sure that we get into those muscles, we get that balance back so that when you are sleeping at night and everything is at rest, everything should be at rest and recovering. That's what really helps with the performance aspect to get the most of your workouts and training, but it's also what helps most with the injury aspect as well. That's where we find the most significant impacts that people come in here and see us for, is that they're not getting that full recovery because they're not being able to get that balance back of fundamental movements and biomechanics. So when you guys are going through that process and thinking about what you should be doing after your workouts and at night to set yourself up for the most optimal type of performance and workouts, then this is one thing that I think you should strongly consider. If you guys have questions, please let us know. Also, if you want to see more specifics to these videos and these drills, check our link below, and we will have a link to all of these different videos that we've went over today. Thanks again for checking our stuff out. We look forward to giving you guys some more content soon.